Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. And in this one, I sit down with Raulito from Fluid Tokens. We did record this one a few weeks ago, but it got lost in my pipeline of trying to get videos out, and now I'm getting it out. So I want to put a quick update on the beginning here because a few things have happened since, but the interview is still a really good introduction, I think, to Fluid Tokens, what they're all about. They are a lending and borrowing platform on Cardano. They have an LBE coming up in January. So it was originally meant to be January 12th. It has been postponed to January 18th. And this is because the AxoTrade LSE, which is very similar to the LBE, is going to be happening around the same dates. So they wanted to make sure people can get involved in both if they want. Anyone who hasn't heard of a liquidity bootstrapping event, basically over on MinSwap, there will be a set amount of days where people can come in and put in ADA into the pool. At the end of that, that will be matched against the Fluid tokens that the team has put in. That's going to set the initial price for the liquidity pool. Everyone gets their LP tokens, and that's how the initial price discovery is done. So some of the features that they have then, so if we look at liquidity here, so we look at the liquidity pools, and these are for NFTs. So if I come in here and I had one of the book Gutenberg Bibles, I could come in here and I can see there's liquidity in this pool of 5,400. I could come in and say that I'm willing to put up one of my Gutenberg Bibles as collateral and take out a loan against that. So I could put the Bible into the contract as my collateral, take out a loan in ADA. So you can see here the max loan amount is 800 ADA. I take that out, I'm paying interest on that. And if I default on that, that means that whoever was the one that put in the ADA into the contract can then claim the NFT as their reward or as the collateral to pay back the loan that I didn't pay back. You see this with tokens as well. With tokens, we see it on other platforms where you have to over collateralize a loan. Generally, that is one token against another, and you have to put in more value of the one you are putting in to take out a loan and something else. One interesting one they have here is rent. So rent is where I don't want to say NFTs are expensive. We look at Tappy. So Tappy is the NFT for tap tools. When you hold it, you get access to the pro features. The NFT sells something in around 1,000 ADA. It goes up and down all the time. But if someone doesn't have 1,000 ADA, but they still want to get access to Tap Tools Pro, then they could come in here and they could rent it out for 1 ADA per day. So in here, you would go in, agree to pay 1 ADA per day. You can see here when these things would expire. And then for having that in your wallet, you then get access to Tap Tools. The person who holds the NFT doesn't actually lose the NFT, but they're earning something extra for an NFT that would have just sat in their wallet doing nothing anyway. With this, the user never actually, the person who rents it out, or with the liquidity stuff, the person who rents it or takes out the collateral doesn't actually get access to the NFTs until the time is over. With renting, they never get access to it. What happens is the NFT, there is some magic with smart contracts that essentially allows you to use the NFT for the utility that it has, but you aren't able to move the NFT out of the wallet that you get it into. The person who puts it up, who owns the NFT, always remains the one with custody of the NFT and the only one who can claim it back from the contracts. So that's it on renting. We get into lots of different aspects of Fluid tokens in the interview. Hopefully you find it interesting. We will catch up again in another few weeks, or maybe in another month or two after the token and the LBE and everything has gone through. Hope you enjoy it. Leave comments, questions, anything below. Let's jump into it. Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. Today I'm sitting down with another founder building on top of Cardano, and that is Raul, who is building Fluid Tokens, which is, and it's a DeFi play. It's where you can use the collateral that's locked up in your NFTs to take out loans and use them for other plays. But we're going to get into all of that in this call and maybe a few other things too. Raul, thanks very much for taking the time to join me. I appreciate it.
Thanks to you, Paul. Thanks for the invitation.
No, look, like normal, we're going to jump straight into it. So for yourself, who are you? Then we'll get into Fluid Tokens, what it is and what it can do. So who are you and how did you land with Cardano?
Okay, so my name is Raul. I am, I am based in Italy, and I grew up basically here. I was born in El Salvador. years ago, nobody knew that country, but now everyone knows the Bitcoin country. And yeah, I think that it started 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when Matteo, the co-founder of Fluid Tokens, he was already writing his master thesis on the first version of Bluetooth for building smart contracts. And he was telling me, Raul, come, you should test Cardano. It's innovative. There are NFTs coming in the next month, and later smart contract is going to be fun. And at the beginning, I was like, oh, I should learn a new blockchain from zero and so on. And in the end, I really enjoyed the path. Like we started from the when there were no smart contracts at all, and now we are here even changing programming language where we are writing our smart contract. It's really a good way. Like now I think that well, I'm not really an expert about smart contracts, but I can handle the Cardano transaction from zero to whatever we would like to do.
Nice. Yeah, it's not the easiest to get a handle of, something I'm working on lately, and there's a lot of complexities behind the scenes when you're dealing with EUTXOs. I've seen actually you put out details on how people can claim back from old contracts, the CNFT.io contracts, which is great to see. That just for anybody by any chance who might have stuff caught up in old contracts, Raul was able to put together the path of how you can interact with the smart contract. So I'll put links to that tweet and the details down below for anyone who might be lost there. And just what you said about changing contracts, later on we might get into how developing on Cardano has changed since the Mary hard fork, which kind of kicked us all off here. There's a lot has changed and lots of new ways to build. But Fluid Tokens, what is Fluid Tokens? And then we'll get into more, go into each area in it then.
Yeah, sure. So Fluid Tokens is a DeFi platform on Cardano that allows users to unlock the liquidity inside their assets. This actually involves many things. The most basic feature that we launched, I think, 1.5 years is lending and borrowing using NFTs or tokens as collateral. It's a peer-to-peer based platform. And so I have some tokens or I have some NFTs. I would like to borrow some ADA, stablecoin, or whatever, and I put up my request with NFTs. And if some lenders find it attractive, they will fill it. Otherwise, the request will stay there until someone fills it, right? And this is actually the first version of the tokens that came around, I think, in 1.5 years ago. But then we decided that that was not enough, because in this way, only borrowers had the power on their hands. So we launched around May our liquidity pools. And this is actually something that gives power back to the lenders. As a lender, you can set up a liquidity pool for a collection, decide how much would you like to lend at most for a single NFT of that collection, the interest, the time frame, and so on. And borrowers can pick directly from the liquidity pools and borrow against their NFTs. Then we wanted to experiment something a bit more, because we said, okay, maybe there are users that would like to unlock the liquidity without selling or without using the NFTs as collateral. And that was mostly happening around the Tappy tools. When Tappy came up, everyone was, okay, I would like to rent one on a Tappy. I would like to borrow it for some days and so on. And it was kind of interesting because we had a call with Optim Finance those days. And we were talking about the technical design and so on. And I spoke with Matteo and said, hey, but this is really cool. Why don't we do it with NFTs? The same concept. I can borrow my NFT and you cannot spend it because it's going to be under your state address. And this is actually how we launched the Fluid Share, our renting feature. And it's been going pretty nice because users are actively renting Tap tools. Dux from book.io, and so far this is what we have built on Cardano. We were able also to launch on Milkomeda, our Solidity smart contract, so replicating more or less the same peer-to-peer functions on the Milkomeda side. And on December, we're planning to launch boosted stake. This similar to our liquidity pools, but for staking delegation.
Okay, lots of different features there. So we'll go back through some of them. The lending one is one that I really like. That's one I hadn't seen anywhere before, and say it was with the likes of Tappy from TapTools that put the demand out there that there was a utility behind the NFT that somebody else could actually use. So lots of times we see NFTs don't have that kind of utility, so there isn't really any reason for someone to want it on a short-term basis. But how does that work? So how do you set it up that, so I own some Tappies, if I was to put one in, how do you set it up that the user can't actually sell it, but they can get the utility from it? Do you need to work with TapTools, or can you just do it all on your own?
So let's say that we spoke with the TapTools teams before to be sure that our smart contract would work in that way. Because the basic system is something like this. As you know, for instance, some wallets like Eternal give you multiple addresses that you can use, right? And eventually, whatever funds come in any of those addresses, you can just use them. You can move it around, change address, and so on. Our smart contracts generates a sub address like one of these, but the smart contract is in charge and decides who can spend what. So when you rent and get one NFT that was listed, it's going to appear under one of these sub-addresses, and that's why you will see it on PAUL PM on your wallet, for instance. And but the rules for spending it are under the smart contract, so you cannot move it, and the owner can get it back because the smart contract knows who is the real owner.
Okay, interesting. So I suppose it's another advantage of the UTXO model, and even we see this with protocols like Indigo, where I can use my ADA as collateral, but it's still actually staked to the same stake pool as I have. And there's some similarities in there. Is it that you have different aspects of it are controlled by someone else?
Exactly, correct. So basically, we have seen a lot of protocols using it for ADA, and we decided to apply the same rules to NFTs.
Okay, yeah, really useful feature. And I think I want to see the NFT space go more into utility and having more utility behind them. So as that happens, then there's more and more, I suppose, use cases for what you guys have to offer and more demand for that service. And going back to the initial concepts are for users to put in their NFT and unlock collateral. So with the pooled one, is that where, say I have an NFT, I put it into the pool, can I set the amount of collateral I expect back, or is that set by the protocol, or the interest rates and stuff like that? Are they set by the protocol or by the individual users?
So when you set up a liquidity pool, so you decide to put ADA and would like to create ADA available according to some rules, is the lender that sets the rules. So that instant liquidity, if you are a borrower and you are going to borrow against your NFT, you will pick the collection and you will find many pools. In this way, you will choose the one that is more suitable for your need. For instance, you may find some pool with a very short term and low interest rate, but if you prefer one that is longer, there will be another pool that is going to be more suitable in that case. So it's really according to what's your need in that moment.
Okay, so you could have multiple pools for the same NFT collection, but the difference is the time frame and the interest rates. Kind of like within more DeFi on dexes, you could have multiple pools with different fees on them. We see it's it's a new trend now for pools launching, is that they're launching with a high interest on the pool and then bringing that down as time goes on to try and avoid bots. So similar to that with multiple pools. So that's all for NFTs. Are you looking at tokens, allowing lending and borrowing with tokens, or is that part of what you guys are doing?
So right now we are going to launch our liquidity pools also for tokens. That's actually part of our current migration to Aiken. We are currently auditing the smart contracts in Aiken. And what's the purpose for this? We don't want anymore to limit the borrower to do single borrowing, but we want to allow them to borrow from different pools in the same transaction. Let's say that I have some snack, some hunt, and one space bug. I want to borrow from their pools, and I don't want to make trade transaction in different moments. I would like to do everything in the same transaction. And that's actually possible on Cardano, thanks to the compositability of the UTX source. And also it's possible thanks to Aiken that makes smart contracts really lighter now.
Okay, yeah, I really like that you can have, so basically multiple collateral types to take out your loan. And then do you use oracles to keep track, or do you keep track of the prices in other ways, or not the smart contracts? Do they keep track for liquidations if the price of the collateral goes down? How does that aspect work?
So right now, in the first version of liquidity pools, there are no oracles. So the lender can track the price and adjust the parameters of his liquidity pools, for instance, determining how much he's willing to loan for that collection or that token in this case. But in our next version, what we are going to do is integrating some oracles. So if you're a lender and decide to lend some ADA for some token, you can set the TVL of that liquidity pool. And when the price rise, the amount of ADA that people will be able to borrow will increase with this increase of the token price. And as always, as also in the opposite case, if the token price goes below, also the amount will lower. And so it's going to make things easier for the lender, because sometimes micromanaging your collection offers are not so easy, and it actually requires time, and time is money, we know.
Yeah. And will there be automatic liquidations, or do I have to manually do it if the parameters are set initially? What, say me as a lender, if I lend and then I see the collateral has gone down on what someone has put up against the loan, do I have to manually liquidate that to take the assets from them, or is that handled by the contracts?
So there is no automatic liquidation, it's more manual, but we have bonds. What does it mean? That whenever if you are a borrower or you're a lender, for every position that you have on Fluid Tokens, you get an NFT bond. So if you're a lender and would like to liquidate your position as a lender, even before the end of the loan, and even if it's not a risky one, you can actually sell that NFT. And the new owner of that NFT is going to have that position, so he will get back their payment or the NFT in case of default.
Okay, are they sold on the likes of JPEG Store, or do you have a marketplace yourselves, or where do users do that?
So right now, the only marketplace is JPEG.store, but we are actually speaking with Danogo, because we would like to have some section about, only for bonds. In JPEG, you don't have information regarding the loan that is behind that asset. So usually users come to Discord and ask, what's the loan of this bond? And with Danogo, you can have all this information upfront without having to do all this time.
Okay, yeah, that's a platform I've seen it mentioned recently. I haven't got to deep dive into it, but I think that whole idea of bonds is something that is going to get bigger and bigger, of people so lending and borrowing is one type of way to interact with DeFi, but the whole bond side of it, I think LendFi are doing the same, that you get the NFT back to represent the loan. And I think that is an area that will get bigger, the trading of that. But at the minute, people probably don't understand it enough. And like you said, the actual tooling around it to make it easier for people to be able to trade these isn't there yet, but sounds like it is coming.
Exactly that. I think that we saw it recently with the opt-in bonds, how Danovo became popular from nowhere, and it's actually good for the ecosystem. Like community learned a new thing.
Yeah, new things coming out all the time. And as you moved into Aiken for building smart contracts, how have you found that? It seems every developer I talk to now seems to be either starting out with that or they're moving into it. There doesn't seem to be many people staying with Plutus for now anyway. I know it will improve over time, but what's your experience so far with Aiken?
So yes, actually, when I started Matteo was the one that writing our smart contract in Plutus. He's a Plutus pioneer. And so I was more into the Cardano smart contract integration. But when we saw that there were new languages, I was experimenting at first with Helios, a really lovely smart contract language, because it was more easy for me to understand it. It's similar to C-type languages. And then when we wanted to actually audit our smart contracts, we found out that auditors have more experience in Aiken in this case, or also Plutarch. And so, considering that we want to get a proper audit, you have somehow to move to a standard across all the developers' side, let's say. And then we switch it to Aiken. Now, me and Matt code in Aiken, and we love it. It makes the experience so much easier during the compilation and also during writing the smart contract. And the most important thing is the output, the result of the smart contract is way smaller than the output of a Plutus smart contract. So if before you can maybe do 1, 2, 3 transactions with 3 smart contracts inside the one transaction, now you can have way more.
Yeah, I remember I had Pi from SundaySwap on to talk about their experiences with it, and he was showing the massive backlog that they had when they initially launched. Like block sizes was smaller on Cardano, and there was lots of things going on. But he said even if they had to have Aiken there, he showed the visual representation, and it was crazy to see how much quicker things would have went through with Aiken. And I know Plutus is still early stages, and there will be more and more developments on it, but Aiken just seems to be moving so fast. Like, who was it? It's another founder on recently who was developing, and he was saying that they were working on something, and they asked the Aiken guys, is it possible to do it? And they were able to build the new feature into it within a few hours. They made the additions to the language, and that type of response or support, it isn't there from, I would say, nearly any other languages out there, which is great for people building now on Cardano, because it was very frustrating to try and build a year ago or 2 years ago on Cardano. I'd say lots of teams built and had to completely scrap and keep moving. Even Plutus V1 to V2, the changes weren't backward compatible. So it was a frustrating time to build, I'd say.
No, indeed.
Yeah, so for yourselves, what's next? You're doing the audit at the minute, you said, for the Aiken smart contracts, which is that converting all your old ones into Aiken and also bringing in the token lending and borrowing, or is there other stuff there?
So we are actually doing 2 audits at the moment. The first one is only for the migration to Aiken of the, let's say, the old protocol, bringing also the tokens compatibility. And also we are doing the second audit for the boosted stake. So the boosted stake, as I said before, is similar to liquidity pools. Like you put your ADA in a pool, you create your terms. How much would you like to get as APR for that ADA? and borrowers can borrow the amount they wish according to the best terms, and they cannot spend it either. So they will be able to leverage their position in ISPOs, increase or help their current pool where they are delegating with. And in this way, it's a win-win situation because the borrowers cannot spend it but can use it, the delegation, the way they prefer, while the lenders instead are increasing their yield on Cardano.
Okay, yeah, I'm already playing that in my head, wondering could you use the ADA there and use it with the likes of Optum and their OADA and the different kind of features that are coming out. There'll be lots of possibilities, I think, for DeFi plays over the next few months. But for yourselves, anything else we kind of didn't cover today that maybe would have been good for? I'm conscious of people who might be new to the project to give them a good overview. I think we've covered a lot, but anything that we haven't kind of touched on?
I think that, well, there are actually so many things, but probably the most important one is that we, after 1 year and a half, we are launching finally our token. And in January, we will be live. We will be launching on MinSwap. And this is something that nobody knows yet. And we are going to use, again, their launch ball. So that's why also was very important meeting them in Dubai. We were able to talk about the details, the specs, and so on, and they were really helpful regarding this.
Okay, that's another project I'm looking forward to. V2 coming out, when what they announced in Dubai looks really, really good. And congrats on the token. With the token then, so you're going to use the launch ball that they have. Where does the token fit into everything that you guys are doing?
So it's going to probably be not just a governance and utility token. So utility is usually related to tiers of the fees. And this is also going to be our case. But also there will be some products like some liquidity pools connected with oracles that will be available only for token holders. So if you're a holder, you can create a pool together with our holders, and it's not more a personal pool, but it's more a project pool, let's say, a holders pool. And this is going to be interesting to see how it comes into play. It's an experiment, and I think that it's something new on Cardano.
Okay, and just actually when we mentioned token, got me thinking on governance with your platform. Is there any restrictions on tokens or NFTs that can be listed, or can anybody come in and list any project? And some protocols go the route that they have to be whitelisted projects. And that, is it open for you, or is it whitelisted?
So let's say it's a hybrid mode. Like we have a toggle. When you come on our platform, you can use whatever NFT it is. If the policy is not verified, it's not going to appear like in the first page or with other NFTs, but users have to toggle and show unverified policies. Why this? Well, this was actually very useful for the renting stuff because the number of projects that started to come and ask for verification was way higher than what we could handle as a verification. And so maybe they wanted to be verified in 24 hours. That was not possible. But with this way, they can still use the platform, send a link to the users, and the users can see the policy and check if it's safe or not.
Okay, yeah, I think that's good. It gives both options, and then they will get whitelit, or not white. I keep saying they're wrong, but they will get verified after they submit it. But it means that users can get started from as soon as they want if they trust and they know the policy ID. It also gives users a bit more protection when they come on, and we see so many copycat tokens across dexes and things like that that it makes it easier for people to know that, okay, it is actually verified as the project, that the project you think you're trading is the project that it actually is. So I think we covered a lot today. Went through what you guys are, where you are, what's coming up. Maybe coming into the new year around the launch ball event, we could catch up again and see how things have progressed with the audit and how things are going with the LBE when you're launching then.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Sounds good. Look, Raul, thanks for coming on today. I appreciate your time and best of luck. Congratulations on everything you've done so far. Best of luck with where you're going, and we'll catch up soon. Anyone watching, please do share it out. Let people know what has been built, what Fluid tokens are doing, and just an example of what is being built on Cardano right now. Subscribe if you're new. Leave questions below. I leave links to Fluid tokens, all the socials, the site, and everything below too. Make sure you check it out, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching.